Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. Once again, family, to the message to the Black Man podcast, where we are delivering the message to the black man. I am your brother Carthrell Muhammad, and this is your brother.
Brother Juan Carlos X.
All praises due to Allah. Once again, family, we get to tap in with you here on the Method to the Black Man podcast. But let us start in the right spirit, because this is going to be a heavy conversation. We want to invite God's spirit and energy in here. So let us begin in prayer. Attention prayer, and we pray. In the most holy name of Allah, the beneficent, the most merciful. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of all the world, the beneficent, the most merciful. Massive, the day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, O Allah, thee alone do seek for thine aid. Guide us, O Allah, on the straight path, the path upon which thou bestowed thy blessing, not the path of those who incur wrath, nor the path of those who go astray. After thou have heard thy teaching, O Allah, we beseech your help and we ask your mercy. We believe in you and trust in you for all that we need. Will help us in your cause with the apostle. Please grant us success, O Allah. We bear witness there is none and no one that deserve to be served and worship beside thee, O Allah, who came in the person of Master Farid Muhammad. We bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is indeed the exalted Christ and the Messiah. We further bear witness that the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is their divine reminder, warn, and comfort in our midst. In their most holy and righteous names, we pray and ask that you would accept our prayers. I mean, I mean. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, most merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is indeed the risen and exalted Christ, and I further bear witness that the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is their divine reminder, warner, leader, teacher, and guide in our midst today. I'd like to greet you all in the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, dear family, is much more than a greeting, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us. It is a prayer to Almighty God Allah that from our hands, our actions, our mouths, that we be free from hurt, harm, and danger in any way. And that is the spirit that we come in. So we greet you once again, family, in the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum.
alaikum.
All praises is due to Allah. Our brother, it is a blessing once again to see you, family. It is a blessing to be right here. I see you rocking your I Am Black History. And my brother got on his Love My Kidney shirt, too.
Give him
So,
a few styles, brother. Give him a few styles.
family, if you're interested in any of that, Brother Amiru, Assalamu alaikum, brother. Welcome to Message to the Black Man podcast. We thank you for tapping in with us. Go ahead, if you would, and text the word digital. Text the word digital to 678-736-7086 so you can tap in with us, know when we go live as well. So go ahead and text that if you would, family. We appreciate that. And welcome to the Message to the Black Man podcast. I want to just tap in with this real quick before we get into some things that we want you to support, family. For those of us that are concerned about this, the race theory, okay? The reality of the matter is, family, that as we have already shared before, even on this show, that the responsibility to educate our children is our own, and that we should be the ones that are leading the charge and leading the way when it comes to the education on us as a people. So, family, for those of you who may not have access to bookstores where you live, family, we do have books digitally and physically that you can get from us. Okay, I want to show you some things that if you go and look at these are now becoming very expensive because they putting them out of print. They made a whole movie about this book called Peculiar Institution. That movie is called Goodbye to Uncle Tom. Very profound book. If you don't have this in your library, it's by Kenneth M. Stamps. We do have that available. Brother Ishmael actually mentioned this one. Our sister Audrey Smetley uh, talking about race in North America, talking about race in North America, where she actually basically gets into the reality of why they start using the race philosophy as they now saying, okay, well, we don't want to be known as this and, inherently racist, but you the one started this, and she documents that, okay? And definitely, family, I just want to bring this up really quick. We're going to play a video in a minute to tell you to support the final call, but I'm pulling this particular final call up for a reason. If you don't have this issue, family, definitely want you to get it. We do have it available. This is the one with the severe weather. Now, on page number 8, very, very significant in there. This is one of the manufacturers, the makers of these vaccines. This is some of these manufacturers of the vaccines right here, and they are letting us know under no certain terms that these vaccines are just not worth it. Then when you get on page 9, it's actually giving you the statistics. And if you go ahead and go to page number 10, you get where they actually talking about vaccinating your children without you even knowing it, without have to ask your permission. So this is where we going, family. So if you don't have that edition of the final call, again, go ahead and text the word digital to 678-736-7086 so we can get it to you. If you stay in the Michigan area, my brother will get it to you. If you're here in Arizona in this region, I get it to you. Or if you contact us, either way it go, we'll get you the paper. That's the point. Okay. And lastly, family, a book we all should be reading in this hour is this. Okay. We should be reading this book because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad have laid out for us exactly what's going on. This book, 1972, I believe it is. Let me take a look. I will get you the exact year. 73. 1973, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad came out with that book, and it is as if that book is today, because it's absolutely rolling off the page. Well, family, we want to go ahead and give you a few things to support, and of course, we want to give you some theme music too. So give me a second while I pull this video up. Just bear with us.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices.
Oh, that's right. I was right the first time.
Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com. Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call Radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the nation.
Let's stipulate that this is not a vaccine. I mean, we need to be really clear. We're using the term vaccine to sneak this thing under public health exemptions. This is not a vaccine. This is a mRNA packaged in a fat envelope that is delivered to a cell. It is a medical device designed to stimulate the human cell into becoming a pathogen creator. It is not a vaccine. Vaccines actually are a legally defined term, and they're a legally defined term under public health law. They're a legally defined term under CDC and FDA standards. And a vaccine specifically has to stimulate both an immunity within the person receiving it, but it also has to disrupt transmission. And that is not what this is. They have been abundantly clear in saying that the mRNA strand that is going into the cell is not to stop transmission. It is a treatment.
My name is Sadiqa Muhammad. I've been blessed with an opportunity to literally press the reset button for my life. And it's just in time for the Muslim reset or Ramadan. I didn't have any Ramadan decorations for my home, and I haven't seen any that represent the MGT. So, the black man and woman are gods. And what do gods do? They create. So join me in pressing the reset button with this beautiful MGT on your wall, reminding you of this blessed Ramadan.
I'ma make you walk like that.
All right, family, and my brother has something that he wants you to support as well. So we're gonna pass the mic over to my brother and let him know about what he has for you to support as well.
Indeed. Peace and blessings, family. Assalamu alaikum. We appreciate you for tapping into Message to the Black Man podcast. Make sure if you're on social media, on any device, tap in with us on Instagram at MTTBM podcast. The same on Facebook at MTTBM podcast. Message to the Black Man, hashtag that. If you're interested in the book, definitely reach out to us and connect with us there. Brother, I can hear an echo. I don't know. But either way, also tap in with us on networkabs.com. You can connect, learn, and grow with us there. Learn passive impact over passive income. Join the network distribution system. Receive over $5,000 worth of marketing and organic distribution for your business or brand. So tap in with us there. Also visit if you're looking for hip hop or different genres of good music playing at different times, any time of the day. We have a streaming platform, Phenom Radio, which has been in service over 10 years, over a decade, millions of streams, millions of listeners, 168 countries. And it's all independent music, good music, different genres at different times. So tap in. You can visit phenomradio.com. On any internet connection, you can tap in Phenom Radio or Phenomenal Radio. You will find us. I suggest that you visit phenomradio.com to listen to us, or if you want us on the go, you can download the TuneIn Radio app on any market that's Apple or Android and just type in Phenomenal Radio. Take us in your car if you got a digital dash, and you're going to get good music all the time. We appreciate you for tapping in with us. This is the Message to the Black Man podcast. And we appreciate your support. And I'm going to pass it back to my brother.
All right, family. Well, we want to wake up your mind. So before we get deep down into it, we're going to give y'all a little bit of theme music. That's how we do. You got two musicians that came together. So check it out.
Message to the Black Man podcast.
Come on. All right, family. Welcome once again to Method to the Black Man podcast, where we deliver the method to the black man. I am your brother, Brother Cartwell Muhammad, and this is your brother.
Juan Carlos X.
And today's topic is going to be the crucifixion of Black leadership. We know that this is something that's going on. And what I want to do is I want to give a floor to my brother first so that he can just give some thoughts on the topic. And then we're going to come back and we're going to hear from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to set the tone for this conversation. So we're going to let our brother go ahead and say a few things about what he thinks about it. Then we're going to hear from the minister, and then we're going to hear from all of us. All right?
Minister Louis Farrakhan. Indeed, everybody. We appreciate you for tapping in with us. This is the Message to the Black Man podcast. Today's subject, crucifixion of Black leadership, is not a subject or topic that's brand new to most of us. We know that we live in a world and a society where they try to keep the Black man and woman and Black family, the Black structure, the Black history, the Black existence hidden, down, made to be less than, not important. You know, they try to detract from it, keep us detached from it. And so today's topic, we're just going to tap in a little bit on some of the methods that they use, some of the repeat methods that we've seen, how it was instituted from the higher levels of this society and those in power. I want to present the question to those listening and tapping in to let this dialogue and conversation, as we always say, evoke thought in you, to get your mind working, to think about who is the they, why would they do this, what's the agenda or purpose in them wanting to do these things or implement these things to keep us down or to subject a certain group of people to their tactics or their rule, as if they're supreme over these people. So, today's topic is real deep. I watched the lecture by Minister Louis Farrakhan, The Crucifixion of Michael Jackson, Part 2. If you haven't watched it, I suggest that you watch it. You can definitely go to our Facebook page, Message to the Black Man, MTTBM podcast. We will be airing this lecture tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, so you can tap in and watch it there. It's definitely deep, definitely fact-based. And, the minister always gives divine, life-giving teachings, important teachings, information, truth that you can learn, grow, and change your life from, and all praise be to Allah for that. So today I'm looking forward to the topic. What is COINTELPRO? What is counterintelligence? What's the reason behind it? What is the crucifixion of the Black leadership? What do we mean by that topic? What are some of the examples as the minister will give you in this lecture and we'll discuss here? So I'm just excited to be able to be on these mediums and platforms in this time, in this day and time, in this hour of the world that some consider the darkest of them all, but we're in dark times as far as the energy and the evil workings of the enemy, our open enemy, and what they're doing. So definitely stay vigilant, family. Stay researching, doing the knowledge. Always ask questions. Remove the fear. Don't be afraid, because fear is control. If they have you scared, you'll be subjected to what they tell you to do because you're scared or you're full of fear, fearful. So remove the fear. Learn to know yourself, love yourself, respect yourself, and we'll jump right into it. So I'm gonna pass it back to my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all, you can hear me okay, brother?
Yes, I can hear you well.
All right. Okay, so we're going to jump in, family, and hear from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that's going to lay the basis of our talk today. So we want you to tap in as he begins to explain this process.
That was not infiltrated by agents and informers of the U.S. government to discredit and disrupt. They use dirty tricks, including the planting of false media stories, bogus leaflets, fake publications. They forged correspondence, sent anonymous letters, and made anonymous phone calls. They manipulated or strong-armed parents, employers, landlords, school officials, and others to cause trouble for the activists. And they used law. They conducted break-ins, vandalism, assaults, and beatings. The object was to frighten dissidents and disrupt their movement. Now, let's look at this thing called crucifixion and see how it's carried out. You know, crucifixion was used by the Persians, the Greeks, the Carthaginians, the Macedonians, and the Romans. It was reserved for slaves, rebels, pirates, and especially despised enemies and criminals. Crucifixion was considered a most shameful and disgraceful way to die. They would take the person, strip him of his clothes, make him carry his cross to the place of crucifixion. But it's all public. Everything is done in the public to bring about your shame, your disgrace. Follow me now. Strip you of your clothing, then they nail your hands and your feet. None of your vital organs are touched, so that you can hang there for hours and for days. Defecate on yourself, urinate on yourself, and some they would spear in the side. But Jesus, they had something special for him, according to the book. Since he was supposed to be the king of the Jews, they made a crown of thorns for him. Put it on his head. I'm coming to you in a minute. They nailed his hands, they nailed his feet, they pierced him in his side, and they let him hang there. People spat on him. Boy, that's some deep stuff. They leave you in the public, and passers-by would throw things at the crucified one. Because once you're crucified, it's like you deserve that punishment. So the people are not asking for you to come down. They are happy to see you on that cross. Now, look at the role that the media has played in the deliberate crucifixion of black leaders. I'm going to name a few, and then I want you to see how crucifixion is done. Then I'm coming to Michael and why he was crucified. Denmark Vesey. There was a plot that called for his group of slaves and free blacks to slay their owners and temporarily seize the city of Charleston, South Carolina. They planned to sail to Haiti to escape retaliation because they were impressed with the revolution that took place in Haiti with Toussaint Louverture and Dessalines. Two slaves opposed to Vesey's scheme leaked the plot. See, there's always a Negro somewhere to tell massa what the slaves were planning for their freedom. Charleston authorities charged 131 men with conspiracy, 67 men were convicted and 35 hanged, including Denmark Vesey. But the worst of those was Nat Turner. Now, Nat Turner was our first great military leader. He was a preacher, but he understood aspects of the Bible that preachers today don't seem to want to preach anymore. But his 1831 insurgency in Virginia numbered more than 70 enslaved and free blacks. Approximately 60 white men, women, and children were killed before Turner was defeated. In retaliation, the white militia killed at least 200 blacks and probably many more. Hysteria arose about armies of slaves rising up, and it led to the slaughter of many blacks all over the South under circumstances of great barbarity. Well, they severed the heads of those that they captured, and their heads were mounted on poles at crossroads as a grisly form of intimidation. 48 blacks were tried on charges of conspiracy, insurrection, and treason. 55 were executed, many more were banished, and a few were acquitted. Nat Turner eluded capture for months before he was arrested. He was tried, convicted, and sentenced to death. He was hanged on November the 11th, 1831 in Jerusalem, Virginia. Now let's become more modern. How many of you have heard of W.E.B. Du Bois? He was a great scholar among us. Du Bois started as a staunch integrationist, like many of us. But later, he echoed a very Garveyite philosophy. W.E.B. Du Bois, that talked about the talented 10th and opposed Booker T. Washington, was also an opponent of Marcus Garvey. He talked about large numbers of American Negroes who in all essential particulars conceived themselves as belonging to the white race. Did this bother any of you? Did it touch any of you? He said such Negroes were ever ready, quote, to flock to white America before they would flock to the brown West Indies or to black Africa or yellow Asia. Blacks, he now thought, should begin to concentrate upon this problem, their economic survival. You know, Du Bois was one of the founders of the NAACP, but the NAACP in its original founding, it was to fight for civil rights, but not economic power among black people. You know that, right? So E.B. Du Bois, once they found that he was growing into this kind of mind and began to write in the Crisis magazine some of his thinking, which I, as a baby, was reading the Crisis magazine. by and more enlightened W.E.B. Du Bois, and he began to fuel my fight. Then the whites in the NAACP questioned his emotional stability and his capacity for cooperation. They were suspicious of his motives and called him a danger. They took away his passport. And they literally made black people begin to look at W.E.B. Du Bois with a negative view. W.E.B. Du Bois today is admired by any of us with an ounce of intelligence. When you read this man's growth and development, Garvey died in London. E.B. Du Bois died in Africa, and his body is interred in Ghana. He died developing the history of Africa and African civilization so that our children would read of themselves not as slaves on some master's plantation, but see the greatness of yourself. And because he dared to teach us the greatness of ourselves, he suffered crucifixion. But the worst of it all, until modern times, was done to Paul Robeson. How many of you heard of Paul Robeson? Paul Robeson was a scholar. He was an athlete. He was an actor. He was a singer. And he was loved outside of America, in Europe, and particularly in Russia. Listen. In 1919, J. Edgar Hoover worked on trying to frame Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey headed the largest independent black organization in the world. And as Garvey grew, they became frightened because Garvey wanted to connect black people in America to black people in Africa. And that to them was dangerous. So what did they do? They framed him. They arrested him, sentenced him to 5 years in prison. His sentence was commuted and he was deported in 1927. But Hoover went on to FBI glory because he got rid of Marcus Garvey and the United Negro Improvement Association. Paul Robeson, at the height of his fame, he was an entertainer and activist. He began speaking out against fascism and racism in the United States and abroad. Robeson became a prime target of the United States government during the late 1940s through the late 1950s. His passport was revoked from 1950 to 1958, and he was under surveillance by the FBI and the CIA and by the British MI5 for well over 3 decades until his death in 1976. They hated him for his beliefs in socialism and friendship with the Soviet peoples, and for his efforts to push for anti-lynching legislation. Began speaking out. Paul Robeson's FBI file is one of the largest of any entertainer ever investigated by U.S. efforts to push for anti-lynching files released under the Freedom of Information Act. Robeson was drugged and neutralized under the CIA's Nazi-inspired MK Ultra mind control program and subjected to abusive levels of electric shocks while in Great Britain as a means to keep him from influencing the U.S. civil rights movement and worldwide anti-imperialist movement during the 1960s. Now look, they focused on black entertainers because black entertainers had money. But and blacks were not in the major leagues, just coming into baseball, just coming into football. So black sports people didn't have the money that black entertainers had. Sammy Davis, Mahalia Jackson, Dick Gregory, Eartha Kitt, Nina Simone, of course, Burt Lancaster, Frank Sinatra, Harry Belafonte, Tony Bennett, Bill Cosby, Diane Carroll, Count Basie, Sidney Poitier, and many others. These were black people and white people who wanted to see black people free. These black people donated their money to movements. And these were some of the strong supporters of Martin Luther King, and we'll get to his crucifixion in just a minute. Now, the prophecy says that any one of us who could connect us to the outside world was deemed a major threat. Garvey, Du Bois, Malcolm, Martin, Elijah Muhammad. Now, do you think that Marcus Garvey was a small-time leader who didn't think about preparing future leaders? Do you think Martin King was like that? These were intelligent black men who knew their mortality. And they knew that if movement was going to continue, they would have to prepare a new cadre of leadership. So here's how crucifixion goes. They nail your hands, they nail your feet. They strip you of your followers by propaganda. They break your legs so that after you are dead, there's no support for your ideas. It's not the man as much as it is the ideas of that man, so they must not only kill the man, they have to kill his idea so that a generation won't come up after him fueled by his ideas. Are you with me? There's Malcolm. There's Martha. Probably too red. Stuff will come like this. It's the Panther Party. Now they even started spying on the NAACP because they couldn't trust that among the NAACP leadership, somebody wouldn't come up with ideas that whites who pay money to it would not be objective, have an objection to. So they watched black organizations. Now, who is the they? Who is the they? Now, some of you like to refer to me as anti-Semitic. I hate that you would say that in the face of many of those who call me anti-Semitic. They're very definitely anti-black. Now, there are certain members of the Zionist faction of Jews that have always wanted to control the means by which your crucifixion could take place. You notice how everyone that got crucified got first crucified in the media. The media is used to demagnetize the person who has attracted large crowds.
Thank you, Yogi.
So to demagnetize you means to make you now unattractive to the people that once were attracted to you. I'm sorry, I have to tell it. There were members of the Jewish community that helped to start the NAACP, but they were watchmen over how that organization developed to keep it in a certain line. This is anti-black. As long as Martin Luther King was talking about black and white together and forgiveness and all of that, he was the darling of the civil rights movement. Malcolm, on the other hand, was like the real radical, and Martin Luther King loved, Malcolm hated. Malcolm was supposed to be the biggest anti-Semite of his day. You didn't hear me. Well, let me say it again. Now, as Martin started changing, see, that's what you have to understand about all of you who lead. As long as you don't change in your relationship to the powers, you can continue. But the moment they see change in you, then they have to destroy you so that you will never be a strong leader for you. When Martin Luther King began speaking against the war, that's when all hell broke loose. The black preachers turned on Martin King and say, "You're making it hard for us, Martin, because your social gospel is interfering with us and our relationship with our former slave masters and their children." So they turned on Martin. The FBI called Martin Luther King a notorious liar. They started monitoring his hotel rooms, his offices, and they sent tapes to his wife of some affairs that he had, as though an affair will make a man less than a warrior for God and the liberation of the people.
All right, family. All right. I mean, we have had a lot to feed on in that. We had a lot to feed on in that, family. And the reason why we played it that long is because we got a lot to feed on from that. Because if we're going to talk about the crucifixion of black leadership, then we have to understand those processes. And the minister laid a lot of them out in there and exactly how that thing go. So what I want to do is I want to give it to my brother first and hear what he thought, and then we want to hear what you think as well, family. So go ahead, hit in the comments. For those of you who've been here since the beginning, go ahead. If you got any questions, please feel free to ask those. But I'm gonna turn it over to my brother so that he can go ahead and tap in with this.
Indeed. Assalamu alaikum, family. As far as the point, the lecture is down there once again in the comments on Facebook. Also, we will be airing the lecture in full tonight at 7 p.m. at MTTBM podcast on Facebook. So tap in with us there. But the minister gave us a lot just in that segment from the systematic implementations or how they use the system that they've created to push the agenda and to get certain things to come into fruition. And so one of those things was counterintelligence, COINTELPRO from a governmental level. And they use methods like this to disrupt, to destroy character, to break down. And don't think for once that it's just something they came up with and said, oh, yeah, that's good. Let's just do that. Right. There's extensive planning, large budgets, budgets of hundreds of millions of dollars that go into this. Teams built to follow, monitor, disrupt, infiltrate. From childhood, from children used to befriend your children, to integrate, to they're raising children in that mind frame, to bring them up in their system, to be employees and workers in counterintelligence in the federal system. And there's think tanks of people that they qualify, a high intelligence that they put together to manipulate, to come up with laws, ways, methods to further maintain control and power, disruption. And some of those things, a lot of those things are met for evil intent. I would say all of them, because for a group of people, such as some of the people he mentioned, Denmark Vesey, Nat Turner, W.E. Du Bois, Paul Robeson, Marcus Garvey, and others, what were these people's why? What was the reasoning that these people were speaking the way they were speaking truth to power, and doing the things that they were doing and on the path that they were on? What prompted them to be on this path? What prompted they to create disruption, destroy character, kill, murder? They that did that, what prompted them to do that to these people and to these men that were mentioned? That's one thing to think about. But we know, and I may not be saying this, so don't quote me, I may not be saying it correctly, But the minister teaches us that you can't fathom the depths of Satan and the extent that they will go to maintain control and power, to disrupt, to
Pretty much,
destroy.
that's almost exact, family.
You know, and we know Satan is evil, complete evil. There's no person in a red suit with a fork, a pitchfork, and a pointed tail running around here in a spook world that we can't see. This is in the nature of those grafted from Yaqub. And we know who the colored man is. We know their history. What is their history? So the devil, as Honorable Elijah Muhammad writes in Message to the Black Man, chapter 53, page 100 in this book, is entitled Devils Fool and Disgrace You. Chapter 53. I want to read an excerpt from it, and then I'm going to speak on something else. It says, Almighty Allah God and the Nation of Islam, elsewhere, Asia and Africa, the islands, are grieved and hurt to the heart to see you walking into the trap your enemies, the devils, have and still are setting for you. I am your sincere brother with the truth from your God in mind, which means your very life and the future of your children and nations of black men and women. The truth being that you should know your enemies and their tricks being played on the world of our kind. Will you listen to the truth? Think about that. Will you listen to the truth? So for those that don't know, we want to know, we hear the word counterintelligence. We hear the word COINTELPRO, and these things came up at the death of MLK, at the death of Malcolm, some of the prominent ones we know about. But it's been going on for a long time. As we've heard the term, history repeats itself. Why is that? Why does it not change? Why do they continue to use the same methods? Because it was effective for them. So then what's the solution? How do we counteract that? How do we watch for it? How do we point it out and know when it's at work? Think about that, family. So the word counterintelligence means activities designed to prevent or thwart spying, intelligence gathering, and sabotage by an enemy or other foreign entities. Sabotage, to destroy. Now that's the definition of counterintelligence. You look it up for yourself. Sabotage by an enemy. Okay. So that's the definition of counterintelligence. What is COINTELPRO? COINTELPRO is the counterintelligence program. This was implemented and instituted by the United States, the FBI, aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, discrediting, disrupting American political organizations, so on and so forth, that they deemed were subversive or counter to what their agenda or what their methods were. And so some may say, well, what's wrong with that? You know, they're here to protect us. They're all for us. What is their history? Come on. What is your history under the they and what they feel is the agenda or what should be? What is your history? What is the history of your people? What have you suffered under what they feel is right and what's wrong? How has that helped your people? How has that benefited you? How are we suffering under that? And some of that, and I'm going to pass it to my brother. The intended effects, there's 6 listed online. You can search 6 intended effects of the FBI's COINTELPRO was to expose, disrupt, misdirect, or otherwise neutralize groups that they believed were subversive by instructing their operatives, those who work for the FBI, to 1, create a negative public image for target groups, for example, through surveilling activists and then releasing negative personal information about them. as we heard the minister talk about. 2, break down internal organization by creating conflicts. For example, having agents exacerbate racial tensions or send anonymous letters to create conflicts within organizations. The third intended effect was to create dissension between the groups. For example, by spreading rumors and other groups were stealing money, making this up. The fourth intended effect was to restrict access to public resources. For example, by pressuring nonprofit organizations to cut off funding or material support. Marcus Garvey and his ships, the Black Star Movement, selling them faulty ships. He got all the money, he didn't raise it. Going to the manufacturers, give them parts that's going to destroy. Give them parts that's going to break down. Give them low budget ships that really ain't going to be able to sell. Don't give them the quality that they have the money and can pay for. We want you to give them this because we don't want them to be successful. We don't want this to happen. 5, the fifth intended effect was to restrict the ability to organize protests. For example, through agents promoting violence against police during planning at protests. We hear that about provocateurs. They put their agents out there dressed as protesters to cause uprising and violence. You out there at the Black Lives Matter march, or you out there at the city protests that's supposed to be peaceful. And the next thing you know, you got some people that don't look like us. The majority of them don't, but they're out there dressed like us. And some of us looking folk be out there working for them. And then here goes some disturbance. Here goes a commotion out of nowhere. Somebody tearing up the business, starting some violence, gunshots ring out. And we like, who is this? At the meeting, we had everything already lined out to where this wasn't going to happen. Who caused this? Right. Think about COINTELPRO and those in power putting their people into those situations to cause disruption, then turn around and say it was you all that made it look bad. They do this to this day. And 6, the sixth intended effect that's listed online of COINTELPRO was to restrict the ability of individuals to participate in group activities. For example, character assassinations, false arrests, surveillance. Don't rock with Michael Jackson. Demagnetize, as the minister said, to take away the influence, to take away the people from believing and supporting the person. He's a pedophile, he's a molester. Right. Don't rock with him. We arrested him for it, so you know he's guilty. They do this to this day. That's right. So think about that, family. The people that they're doing these things to, when you see, this something that stuck with me from the minister, then I'm going to pass it to my brother. And it was powerful because I was going through my own test at this time. When you see men fall, don't laugh, right. Learn. That's right. Learn from it. Look into it. Nobody's perfect. People make mistakes, but you have to correct those mistakes. And you don't make those mistakes anymore. So when you see men fall, you don't laugh, you learn. And when we see it on these big scales, Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, and different others, we have the media and the propaganda pushing a certain narrative. And so we suck it in through social media and on these television channels, and then that formulates our thinking. Psychological warfare. We constantly hear it over and over, just like in music. I'll say this and I'll pass it on. There's a clip with T-Pain going around that's viral right now, talking about the music sounding the same. Stop doing the same thing. Stop it. Do something different. Why? My question is, why does it sound the same? Because the agenda that was pushed from the higher levels, we want this sound. We want this topic talked about. Murder, rape, shoot a nigga, kill a nigga. She a B, she a hoe. I'm a prostitute, I'm a stripper. Kill my brother, kill my sister. I don't need no family. I sell drugs, I kill my brothers. I have multiple women. I don't care about nobody. All in the same drum. Look up that lecture. We'll put it in the comments from Dr. Wesley, talked about trap music and the origins of it. That goes back, and we don't even understand the science, the frequencies, the vibration, the psychological aspects of it. But yet we hear one sound in music. Yet when it comes to these topics, we hear one agenda, one narrative. Who's giving us that narrative? And as you hear it over and over and over, it becomes accepted. Now this is normal. It must be true. 5 million people said it, so it must be true. Think about that, family. I'm going to pass it to my brother. And excuse our passion. You know, I'm working on that myself. I'm a new fruit, and I'm working on that. But these things, anger is also emotion given by God. Not necessarily to enact violence or do something dumb from it, but to arise in you thought and change and awareness. So think about that. I'm going to pass it to you, brother.
Yes, sir, brother. You was dropping it like it was hot. All praises is due to Allah. You know, don't worry about that, brother, with the passion. You're not going to sit up and say it nice when you at war and under attack. I mean, you know, we keeping it respectful and we keeping it real, but at the same time, don't cut off necessarily your passion, because the emotional way that you would deliver it will touch the heart and mind of someone who otherwise might not have got it. Because if you just sound monotone, yes, I'm angry, and blah, 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 right? They may not believe you. But when they see that you're passionate about it, they see that you digging in to your heart and your mind about it, they may be inclined to want to go study. Well, why was he so passionate about this? Why was he going in about that? What is it that I need to know? That's why the minister delivered like he did. You hardly ever hear a lecture. He just went monotone. No,
Indeed.
because he's touching the heart, mind, and those passionate moments allow things to go in. He's ingraining it. It's a science behind it, you know? So don't worry about that. Well, family,
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, I just wanted my brother drop a lot in it and touch all over what the minister said. I want to take us into the supreme wisdom and show you how our Savior, Master Fard Muhammad, God in person, told us about these kind of things when he gave the Honorable Elijah Muhammad our lessons. He told us about COINTELPRO all the way back then. Now check it out. In lesson number 1, question number 4, it says, why did we run Yaqub and his maid devil from the root of civilization over the hot desert into the cave of West Asia, as they now call it Europe? What is the meaning of EU and ROPE? How long ago? What did the devil bring with it? What kind of life did he live? How long before Musa came to teach the forgotten trick knowledge? We're not going to get into the whole answer. We're going to get into the beginning. It says, because they had started making trouble among the righteous people, telling lies. They accused the righteous people, causing them to fight and kill one another. Yaqub was an original black man and was the father of the devil. He taught the devils to do this devilishment. Okay, so now we're going to say right there, what did they do? It says that they started trouble, making trouble among the righteous. They started making trouble among the righteous. So what did they say? In the meaning of the COINTELPRO, they said that they would cause dissension, that they would put out false reports, that they would cause one to rise against another, that they would do all of these things So it's right here in our lessons. Then if we go on right here where the minister talks about they don't want you to connect with the people outside of your circle where we live, it's right here in lesson number 1, question number 6. It says, why did the devil call our people Africans? To make our people of North America believe that the people on their continent are the only people they have and are all savage. He bought a trading post in the jungle of their continent. The original people live on this continent, and they are the ones who strayed away from civilization. They are living the jungle life. The original people called this continent Asia, but the devils called it Africa to try to divide them. He wants us to think that we are all different, okay? And then the last one I want to mention, it says, as my brother was talking about the agenda with the music, it says, why does number 7? Why does the devil keep our people illiterate? Answer, so that he can use them for a tool and also a slave. He keeps them blind to themselves so that he can master them. Illiterate means ignorant. So right there, it's all in there in the first part of our lessons. Master Fard Muhammad, God in person, the Mahdi, was telling us exactly the tricks that they would be using. They named it COINTELPRO. They named it different operations. They named it. Now, I don't know if you caught this. At the end, he talked about how they were using on our brother electric shock and ultra mind control. Now, do you realize that they spend billions of dollars, not millions? They spend billions of dollars on mind control. In the book, Dr. Wesley talked about the pot plot. He begins the book talking about how many uprisings it was since the 1960s. And then when you got into the 1980s, why there was no more uprisings. He talked about how they said the aggression, just like in slavery, they gave it a name that, I can't remember the scientific name that they gave it, but they said that if you ran away, there was a disease in slavery. They said the aggression that you had because they doing everything that they doing to you, that was a scientific term for that. Okay, well, then in the 60s, it was the same thing. They said, well, this aggression of black people from what they're going through, right? This aggression from what they're going through, it was a scientific term that was used in the book. But their answer became a drug named Haldol, Haldol, Haldol. And Haldol then brings down your response in your mind and makes you more docile. They started it in the prisons. The brother talks about that. But look at this. What are some of the things? Why are you purifying your water right now? Why do you have all of these water purification devices that you have right now? Besides the chemicals that's in it, they say there are pharmaceuticals in the water, that these pharmaceutical companies are putting in the water. There are pharmaceuticals in the water. So now you drinking a cool glass of water, and then what you don't realize that you altering your own way that you respond to things because the water you're drinking, the food you're eating. So if you get again, I got to go here now. Y'all got to rock with me on this. Because I want you to understand that our Savior came and told us stuff that would nobody else know but God. Listen now. Hold on. I got to go to. Hold on. Let me pull it up here. Oh, it's back here. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Listen to this. This is an English lesson C1. He says, it says, why does he like the devil? This is number 7. We're going to go from 7 on down to 14. It says, why does he like the devil? Because the devil put fear in him when he was little boy. Why does he fear now since he's a big man? Because the devil taught him to eat the wrong food. Does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? Yes, sir. That makes him other than his own self. What is his own self? His own self is a righteous Muslim. Now, what is that saying? They taught you. They taught you how to eat the wrong food. They taught us to eat the wrong food mentally. They taught us to eat the wrong food spiritually. They taught us to eat the wrong food physically. They got us drinking the wrong food. Yes, water goes in and it is digested just like your food. So if you're not purifying your water, if you're not again growing your own food, even in the pesticides that they putting in there, there's chemical responses that go on in the body that cause certain results. So you're eating this food and you end up with cancers. You're eating this food and you end up with diabetes. You're eating this food and you end up with high blood pressure and all these different types of maladies because you're eating the food that they're giving us. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us what? Get your mouth out of the white man's kitchen. Go to the earth and grow your own food. But see, a lot of us, we've been pushed away from the farm mentally because why? When we go to the farm, to the land, we think about slavery. And we don't want no parts of that. Our fathers did that. Our mothers did that. Our grandparents did that. But at the same time, you're not understanding that they killing us, as the minister said in executive decision, justifiable homicide and executive decision. They said, how do you kill a food? It tastes good. See, he said, you calling McDonald's, White Castles, Taco Bell, and all of these things, but it's chemicalized death. It's chemicalized death. In the McDonald's burgers, you got the pink slime. In the shakes, they got grub worms in it. They use the dye from a worm to make the strawberry shake pink. You don't believe me? Go read the book called The Fast Food Nation, and you will see all of the stuff that they doing to this food. Not just McDonald's, they go through a whole genre of the different restaurants and what they're doing. And this is causing health problems. So in our problem book, he talks about the doctor. And him, you got to pay him for the prescription and you got to pay him for the pills. So they're in cahoots. These people that's feeding you this madness. So as Dr. Wesley talked about in Death by Zip Code, in that document, he talked about this. And he says how they deliver the worst quality food in our neighborhoods. So, yes, we are talking about the crucifixion of black leadership. Well, this is part of how they crucified because they putting a needle in the brain before they can even be leaders. They putting soy in the food, turning you into other than yourself. So it says, what does it do? They ate the wrong food. What does it do? It makes them other than his own self. They putting soy in the food. They putting these chemicals in the food that's turning you from a man into a woman and from a woman into a man. Men are developing breasts. Women are growing beards because they changing your cellular genetic structure through the food. This is no joke. This is no joke. We're in a battle. The scripture says, Yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We walking through the valley of the shadow of death. Death is all around us, not just bullet shots. I'm talking about from what you think to what you eat to what they want to inject you with. See? Why? Why? Because they're trying to destabilize the God gene that's within you. They don't want you to manifest your Godhood. They don't want you to manifest your God-given ability to rule and be a proper leader even in your own family. Why? Because they're benefiting. Divorce 400% up. Most marriages don't last no longer than a year. What is that? If you don't build strong families, you can't have a strong nation. So therefore, yes, this is the crucifixion. This is the crucifixion of black leadership too. Because they know that if you had a right mind and you connected to the right source, that's God, and you produce a child and you teach that child right, that they will grow up to combat them in the future, and they don't want that. So now, as I said, I'm coming back to this page number 10 in this issue of the Final Call, issue number, volume 40, number 39, July 6th. You don't have this issue, text the word digital to 678-736-7086, and we can get you this. Look, right here, page number 10. It says health advocates protest COVID-19 vaccine injections for children without parental consent. So now they are saying that they gonna inject your children at these dang on schools or wherever you sending them, at the daycares and whatnot, injecting your baby. You don't know nothing about it. You at work, you at school, you at wherever you at. As my brother said, you can't fathom the depth of Satan. Not just devil. Devil is one thing, but Satan, he's the devil maker. So you can't fathom the depth of the devil maker, the one who is spinning people on the axis toward being a opposer to God. He's given the education. He's given the way in which he would turn you around. I'm going to end on this. And the brother shared it on his Instagram. Did you know that there's an anthem that they had gay white people singing an anthem that right there in San Francisco, talking about how they going to turn your children into their lifestyle, and they're going to do it subtly where you don't know it? So now you're getting into school. Oh, you have to learn about same-sex marriages. Well, I don't want my child to learn about that. If you don't let them learn about that, they can't come to this school. They teaching your child young about anal sex when they ain't got no business knowing nothing about that. As a young person, they bringing drag queens into the school to read to your children. Why? Because they got an agenda. This is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad warned us that we have to have our own independent schools. We got money to unite, not dissing, I'm just saying. We got money to unite, to put 5 on some weed, 10 on some crack, with heroin or whatever we doing. Well, why can't we unite our dollars and come up with a school? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't just put the Muhammad University up to say this is only for Muslims to do. He was saying basically, if you got the right mind, start your own school. Because they not going to teach your children nothing good in there. You looking in Texas. It's here in Arizona now. They not going to teach black history in Arizona. Not going to teach it. So they would rather the people not know nothing about you other than what the hell they want them to know and tell lies and spin the history than tell the truth. That's how you know who you're looking at. That's not the work of somebody that want to be knowledgeable. That's the work of a devil. That's the work of a devil. So, family, I got one more point, if you would. In this book, and the minister mentioned this, and in this book, Secret Relationships Between Blacks and Jews, Volume 2, which you can pick up at store.finalcall.com or call 773-602-1230. When they were constructing the NAACP, and as the minister said, it was Jews that started it, they said that they had to fight on the basis of non-economic liberalism. That's the term. Non-economic liberalism, meaning don't put no money behind your movement. Why? We don't want you building institutions. We don't want you getting wealth behind what you do. Because if you do that, you might buy off judges like we do. I'm not saying you would, but I'm just saying. You might buy off senators and mayors and governors and congressmen the same way we do. You might lobby for your own damn cause. Huh? If you put money behind it, you may be able to make sure your politicians do what they supposed to do because you keeping them fueled with the monies that they need. This is why a lot of our politicians turn away, because the enemy can come in and give them a few dollars. Well, why we can't give dollars to ourselves? Because they don't want you to create economic wealth in your organizations. Because if you do that, if you notice, one of the points brother brought up in the COINTELPRO is to destabilize you and steal money. That's one of the things. They don't want you to have no finance behind your movement. Because if you got finance behind your movement, then you're going to move differently than you do right now. So, family, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. I'm gonna read some of the comments that we got so far. Brother Doug says, how are lockdowns and mandates pro-personal freedom? The Neo-Democrat Party has transitioned from liberal values straight into actual authoritarian and fascist policies. Neo-Dems are literally anti-liberal. Okay, yeah, Doug, the reality is that that's what they want. They want a big class of workers, and they want a big class of those who would be in prison to keep their system up. Sister I Am Desire said, y'all teaching hard. Say, teach black men the devil is mad. That's Brother Royal Champ. All right. They don't want us to develop the God within, but Master Farad Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan work night and day to elevate our minds into oneness with Allah. Praise be to Allah. Get your black children out of these government schools. My God. That's what we hearing. And those were some of the comments that we had. Sister did make another comment. She didn't know that they were putting these things in the water and the food. Yes. I just tell a quick one and then I'm going to give it back over to my brother. They were saying when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad moved to Phoenix, Arizona, they said, we ought to kill that nigga. This is what they said. We ought to kill that nigga. And the guy pulled the guy's coat. He said, no, don't worry. We'll get him in the water. Did you hear what I just said? They said, don't worry. We'll get him in the water. So, family, that's what I'm saying. It said that the pale horse and his rider was death, and hell followed close behind. So he bringing it with him. He's bringing death. He's bringing destruction. He's bringing a way that's going to equal your demise. Well, I'm going to pass it back over to my brother and, hear what he got to say.
Indeed, indeed. And my brother gave a lot for us to contemplate on, to think about. Ask these questions. As I always say, my thing on social media and has been outside of music has been searching and sharing truth, not sharing things I believe or something somebody said that's not researched. Is sharing truth, because that wavers for no man, one. And the way that I use the tools of social media, for those listening, those that see this video, if I fall off going to the bathroom or Allah, not let me live past this, and this is my last video, evoke thought. To evoke thought is to generate these brains, these supercomputers in our minds that we've been given to think. Everything starts from thought, and then thought becomes matter. So evoke thought and think on why they would do these things. Why are they doing these things? Why do they want to kill an idea? Why do they want to poison the people? Why do they want a certain group of people at the bottom of the totem pole? Why are they so caught up in greed? Why are they so evil? As my brother referred to as devils. As we hear and we're taught, devils. Well, what is devil? There's not no spook mystery person, like I said earlier, red body with some horns sticking out their head, with a pitchfork and a pointed tail running around out here doing this stuff. By definition, you can look this up. A devil is an atrociously wicked, cruel, or ill-tempered person. A person who is very clear, energetic, reckless, or mischievous. A person, usually one in unfortunate or pitiable circumstances, if I said that right. But an atrociously wicked, cruel, ill-tempered, mischievous, and got a lot of energy, energetic behind that. Think tanks, laws, bills, submission, subjection, war, death, ill nature, ill energy. Am I speaking what I feel? No. Research the facts. Everything I just said. All those definitions and those words I just gave, who does that fit? What group of people does that fit? By their actions, not by my words or my opinion, by their actions. Those are the devils. Real live in real time. Everybody hollering demon time, they own it. We got to watch some of these words we use also. And I'm learning, but we use them and we speak these words spelling, not no witchery, but you're manifesting things as you write words and you speak them. Learn spelling, casting spells. We got to watch this terminology we using because it's real. And certain people have agendas out there when they make certain terms cool or prominent for us to we just saying them and picking them up because everybody's saying it. So think about that. Who are the devils? One thing I want to say also, you know, a lot of people, I say, conform. And the next word or the next thing I would say is hashtag what is conformity, and see what you find, what images and videos. Hashtag it on Facebook, hashtag it on Instagram. What is conformity? CONFORMITY. By definition, conformity is compliance with standards, rules, or laws, behavior in accordance with socially accepted conventions or standards. Conformity is the act of matching attitudes, matching beliefs, and matching behaviors to group norms, politics, or being like-minded. Norms are implicit, specific rules shared by a group of individuals that guide their interactions with others. So when you conform, you got a million people saying this. You over here with a few hundred that's looking at these millions of people saying this. You don't want to feel outcasted. You don't want to feel pointed out or different. So what do? We conform and we walk right over there and stand in the group with the millions, and we formulate and we rock with them and we choose what they saying, not even knowing why they saying it. Ain't did no research, ain't looked into it, for the simple fact that we don't want to feel a certain kind of way, or we don't go past the thought of, well, it's so many people saying it over here, that must be right. Everybody taking their clothes off, it must be right. Everybody listening to this music, it must be what we need to listen to, so I'm gonna listen to it too. Everybody taking their mask off, except those in the nation, and they listening to the minister. I'm gonna do what they doing. Boss said it's okay. They said we can go out to the movies now and hang out. They saying we all need to get the shot. I see everybody getting the shot. I'm gonna go get the shot. What is conformity? You want to match the attitudes and belief of the majority, and who's controlling the majority? Who's controlling the narrative of saying this is what is normal? Who sets the standard for what is normal? What is conformity? Those same people that I gave by definition of their actions for you to research and apply it to, all those definitions: ill-tempered, wicked, cruel, mischievous, energetic, reckless. Those devils are the ones having us conform. Those devils are the same ones that instituted COINTELPRO, which was a series of covert and illegal projects by the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigations. Now, this is the government that give us our laws, but by definition, I didn't make these definitions up. Go research it for yourself. By definition, they committed illegal acts. Well, who's punishing them? Yeah, we did it, and we are it.
Right.
Why is that? Think about that, family. Think about that. Nobody gives you justice. If you're a man, you take it.
Right.
And I'm just telling you to think about that. I'm not telling nobody to go out and do nothing crazy. I'm not inciting any violence or any of that. I'm not saying that at all. Because as we're taught and we learn in the nation, we don't carry any weapons. We don't commit acts of violence, but come around playing. Come around playing and see what's going to happen. And like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in one of his lectures, if a cracker put his hands on you, break his neck. If he punch you in your jaw, break his neck. And I'm not saying it word for word, but he says when you start thinking like that, people will think twice about bothering you. And then some might say, oh, well, why are you going to say that? Why would you say break his neck? Why would a cracker be coming up to me, hitting me in the first place? Who is a cracker? Where did that label come from? Not just a white person. A cracker from slavery was the one whipping us on the whipping post.
That's right.
When that whip would crack across our back. That's where that term came from.
That's right.
So had that not happened, we wouldn't have that term. Had that not happened, the minister wouldn't be saying that. When the cracker come and hit you on your jaw to break his neck. You got somebody racist and evil, a devil coming to commit violence and harm to your body and your family. You're not going to defend yourself? And I don't mean to go off on that, but those same people instituted COINTELPRO. My brother also mentioned from the poison of the foods, the water, in everything. They do it in everything. With Paul Robeson, the MK Ultra. What is MK Ultra? MK Ultra, Project MK Ultra, is the code name given to a program of experiments on human subjects that were designed and undertaken by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, some of which were illegal. Most of them were illegal. The same people giving you the laws to abide by are the same people committing these illegal acts. By history, not by my words, by their actions. We need change. And we've been hearing it I was born into hearing that, into this world. Most of us were, if you're watching this. We shall overcome, no justice, no peace. Fight the power. When are we going to actually do it? 10,000 fearless. When we going to stand up, resurrect our mind, find that knowledge of self, the knowledge of who we are. And one thing I'll say before I pass it back to my brother is I suggest everybody read this book here. Just read it. Just read it. Read a sentence a day if that's all you got time for. We spend hours on our social media device, scrolling, clicking pictures, watching nonsense, laughing and joking and playing, talking about stuff that ain't important, and never do no research. Never learn anything that can help or better us. Grab this book. Grab the tangible book. I don't know if the ebook is online or available, but grab the physical book while you still can. Before they start trying to take the books up and get rid of them, as history has shown before. How they burn libraries and burn thousands of books because they didn't want you having the information. But in this book, Message to the Black Man, chapter 106 is entitled, A Rule We Must Live By. And I just want to say this, and I'm going to pass it to my brother. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, we are not from a father of another people. We are the father of all human beings, regardless of color or language. This covers the brown, yellow, red, and white. Originally, all of these races, and they are truthfully named by the word races, were begun by the black man. They all came from him, and there are some white scientists who know this and will agree. And there are probably scientists of the darker races who will also agree. But there are only a few who actually know these truths. And these few have not felt that they should reveal it to the masses because they feel that this is something they should hold for their own interests. Those same people instituting these laws, these COINTEL pro agendas, these MK Ultras, these evil science experimental drugs and shots, the fluoridation of the water, the poisoning of the food, the teaching and training of these Blue Klux Klan out here killing us that are full of fear. The same people behind all of that at the top levels know who you are, know who we are, know they have the information. They know who the original man is. They know who the Aboriginal people are. They know how long the world has been here. They know how long they have to rule on this earth. They know who their father is and where they come from. We don't know. They know. That's why they do all these things. That's why we have a dialogue like this, the crucifixion of Black leadership. That's why we have many examples as we given in this episode of how they crucify Black men, Black leadership. And we're not talking about necessarily nailing to the cross, as Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan showed, by putting it in your hands. You can't work, you can't move. By nailing your feet down. Now you're not mobile, you can't go nowhere. Destroying your character, hanging you up for the people to see, to destroy your character so that people can mock and laugh at you. That type of crucifixion. So ask questions, family. I love y'all as much love. I love our people. And I'm thankful to Allah for all of this. I'm thankful to Allah for the nation and the life-giving teachings. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for being a Black man. I'm grateful for being a Black man in a world where I can walk up the street and somebody might pull up on me and kill me. In a world where these laws might pull up on me and throw some charges on me, take me off, beat me up, drag me in the field, string me up, destroy my family. I'm thankful still in all of that. Because my power, and I seek refuge in the Creator. Ain't nothing topping that.
That's right.
Ain't no science, ain't no billions, ain't no Elon Musk, ain't no Bill Gates, ain't no space travel with all their billions of dollars in science labs can top that. They exist because of the Creator. He allows them to exist. And so that's the side I'm going to stand on. I suggest you evoke thought. I hope this evoke thought, and I suggest you do the research is what I meant to say. I'm going to pass it back to my brother.
Yes, sir, brother. I mean, you said so much. You know, family, I just want to touch on a few things. We're not going to try to hold you here too long. My brother mentioned about spelling, and I want to go again into our lesson book. This is in the original rules of instruction to the labels. It says spelling must be used by all Muslim girls and mothers to their children for bedtime study, also in regular courses. Muslim girls must get away from reading their devil's bedtime stories to their children. So he mentioned that and he talked about spelling. And the truth is, they know these things. And so they give you words to use that you don't know what it is, but yet you're enacting things that you don't know where it come from. So we heard all our life the word abracadabra. We've heard that when in it's magic, something appears out of it. Well, abracadabra is the Hebrew word for be, and it is to come into existence. That's what the word abracadabra actually means. So when they're talking about spelling, that's right. You're invoking something to come into existence. I dropped a link in there where the minister is the 21st century new education paradigm. Well, he's talking about those who want to keep us in this condition, and those that want to keep us in this condition. Let me go quickly because I don't want to hold you long. Listen, is the 10%. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, who is the 10%? This is our lessons. Master Fuad Muhammad asked this question, who is the 10%? Says, the answer is the rich, the slave makers of the poor, who teach the poor lies, to believe that the almighty, true and living God is a spook and cannot be seen by the physical eye, also known as bloodsuckers of the poor. Okay? Now, listen to this. I got to go back because this is what they want. Who is the 85%? Notice none of this is talking about color now. None of it. The 85%, the answer, the uncivilized people, poison animal eaters, slave for mental death and power, people who do not know the living God or their origin in this world, and they worship that they know not what, who are easily led in the wrong direction, but hard to lead in the right. See that? So these 10%, they controlling the 85%. They're controlling the 85% by teaching lies. See that? So they give you misinformation. Why? Because if you get misinformation, look at what our brother Carter G. Woodson said. He said it took him 20 years to deprogram himself from the education that they gave him. That's why he came out with the book, The Miseducation of the Negro. He said it took him 20 years to deprogram himself. Because as the minister said in the lecture that I put in there, he said the root of this educational system is white supremacy. That is the root of it. That is the purpose and the function of it, to make you walk out and see white as supreme and yourself as inferior. So, family, we know that we've given a lot and we spent quite a nice amount of time delivering this to you. But we do that because we care. And for my sisters that's looking for books that you can read to your children at night, your brother, he did create a book called The First Day I Prayed, which you can, and this is talking about my son at 8 years old when he led the family prayer for the first time. Now, that's not me just pubbing something. This book has the English and the Arabic transliteration. It teaches you the movements of prayer, teaches you how to say the prayer. So it's not just about me trying to sell something. It was something that we put a lot of thought into so that your children can see their own beautiful selves in the prayer and see the positions of prayer and pray along with Jami, okay? And so that they can get in the habit of prayer, because family, it's going to take a whole lot of prayer to get us out of this circumstance and situation. Because some of us, the truth be told, even with this knowledge, we're woke, but we not activated. Meaning we got all that knowledge sitting up in here, but we not utilizing the knowledge that we have. So it's in physics, you have what's called basically what is the energy that sits still, and then you have kinetic energy. Kinetic energy means that that energy is in force. It is in motion. Stagnant energy, stagnant, it's just there. It's not moving. But kinetic means that is moving. It's launched out. It has focus. So a lot of us have to take and enact and activate what we already know, and we'll be able to sit ourselves in heaven at once. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad already gave us the key to our economic plight. He's already gave us the key to our social plight. He's already gave us the key to our dietary and health challenges. He's already given us the key to unlocking this mind right here. He's already done it. But a lot of us looking for everything else instead of delving in, asking questions, as my brother says, to learn how to activate this knowledge. And I end on this. We watching young brothers right now. We watching young brothers like Brother Ben X, Brother 19 Keys, Jake Teller Jacobs, Chris Cole, and many others. But I'm talking about specifically, I'm pointing out Brother Ben and 19 Keys because these are young brothers that are in the nation who are taking the teachings, activating them, and showing you that if you deliver the message to the people in the right way via social media, that's all they doing. They bring an FOI class, MGT class, education, economic education, and all of that into a platform. And because they're doing that, they're transforming lives. They're transforming lives. They bring in the FOI class, the MGT class, our training to social media platform. They call it ABS Tribe. They call it BWO. They call it Infinite Wealth Strategy. They call it all these things. But the truth of the matter is that they've taken what they've learned from the teachers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and they've delved into it, and they have been able to create a means of subsistence for themselves, their families, and unlock doors that have been closed to us before. God has come to free us, family. Master Fard Muhammad has come, and he promised us luxury, money, good home, friendships in all walks of life. If, if what? If we would apply the knowledge, family. Apply the knowledge. Let's unite like never before, not only with our words, with our money, with our dollars, and watch what Almighty God Allah will do with us and through us. Family, we have been blessed today to talk with you. We pray that we shared something of value that inspires and invokes thought to make you think. Our brother have already put in there about the economic blueprint. We definitely want to invite you, family, to our weekly webcast. So wherever you at, you can always tune in to information that's going to elevate and transform your life if you apply it. I'm going to start saying that more. It will transform and do all these things in your life if you apply it. Okay? And we also want to invite you, family, to the improvement course every Friday now. We want to invite you. I'm going to put the link in here for our study group here in Phoenix so that you can tap in with us. That's going to be 7:30, okay? So you can tap in with us, and brother will put the link as well, so that you can tap in with him. And for those of you all who may be in different places, we're going to put the link here for you. So you can put that in and you can actually sign up to go to the self improvement course in Chicago right there. So if you're in the Arizona area, you can use that link, the link's bio. Brother's gonna put the link. If you're in the Southwest region, he's gonna put that link. And if you're not in any of those family, then you can just go to noi.org/study. Go ahead, get that self-improvement going on right now. We are studying, the knowledge of God. Powerful, family. Powerful. We haven't even got into the study yet, and it's already powerful, So wait until we get into the crux of it. We all gonna come out greater and better again if we apply what it is that we've learned. We thank you, family, for tuning in and tapping in. If you found value with this, please share, share, share. Also follow us at MTTBM podcast on Facebook, Instagram, do that. And again, this podcast will be available on Phenomenal Radio. It's also going to be available on Pandora as well and Anchor FM. Okay, so it's going over many channels, so if you Pandora, if you do Phenomenal Radio, if you do Anchor FM or anywhere you podcast, type in Mind Spark Creations. Type in Mind Spark Creations, and I specifically title these MTTBM podcasts and whatever the subject is, so you can always go and listen until we get our own, and then we'll keep going from there. So, family, we've enjoyed you. We pray that you've enjoyed what we shared this week. And we look forward to you next week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. May Allah bless each and every one of us to make the changes necessary to be the God that we were created to be. I greet you in peace of Assalamu alaikum, and I'm going to let my brother close out, and then we're going to go ahead and shut it down, family.
Likewise, we appreciate you for tapping in. Make sure you utilize the information and look into some of the solutions that were offered here and seek solutions to the problems. And that's all I have to say. Once again, thank you for your time. Peace and blessings, love and light. Assalamu alaikum to the family all across the world.
Yes, sir. So we just want to once again, for those of you all who are interested in getting books to teach your children real Black history, we do have some physical copies, and we have a whole digital library as well. Many, many, many books. If you would just text the word digital to 678-736-7086, you can tap in with us and we can let you know how to get those books. All right. All right, family. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.